Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the brushes that I recommend that you use, the right shapes and sizes, and when you're starting out with watercolor. And this is a little primer on flat brushes, which are pretty much what they say they are. They're brushes that are flat. This particular one is a 1-inch, and then I have a smaller one, which is a 1/2 inch. I've used these brushes for years. They're a synthetic. They hold up very well. And they're my basic flats. I don't use flats a lot, but they are good for applying large areas of color, and they can also hold a lot of paint. They're not my go-to, they're just a supplement for when I'm doing painting. I use them for kind of square or geometric shapes, but I can also get more organic shapes out of them. They have a good sharp edge when they're wet. If you get a good synthetic brush, make sure you do. Starting out, synthetic is perfectly fine. This will sharpen out and you can get some nice lines with it. I use them for lifting. I put a wet brush on dry watercolor and am able to lift areas and even get effects. And they're good for wetting large areas of large areas of paper with just water. When I'm doing a wash or I want to cover a large space. A 1-inch is fine starting out. If you're working on an 11 by 14 sheet of paper or a 9 by 12, just to get a handle for it. As you paint more, you may want to invest in larger flat brushes. And down here, I've done some effects with the flat. This is just taking a 1/2 inch loaded with water and bringing it across the page. Some of it turns out to be dry brush. This is doing basic geometric shapes. I use these a lot when I'm laying in brick effects. Here's a dry brush with a flat. And you can get organic. They seem a little bit more controlled than using a round, but you can get these kind of shapes. And then you can get to fine detail with the edge. And you can do some dry brushing with the edges. So that's the basic information on flat brushes. You don't need a lot. A 1-inch is perfectly fine, and a 1/2 inch brush is fine when you're starting out painting with watercolor.